Okay. So Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. So now we're going to start the Pasuk Dalet, right? Pasuk Dalet. We're in Perek Vav, Pasuk Dalet. Now, after the Neshama, Knesset Israel, Am Israel, depending on the Gaon, depending on the Malbim, that has explained the relationship or the desire of connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Benot Yerushalayim, right? Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds. Yeah, according to the Malbim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds. Also, now it's, you've been looking for me. Let me tell you how I think and what I feel about you. Yafa at ra'ayati ketirza. You are beautiful, my beloved, like Tirza. Tirza is a location in the Shomron, in Eretz Israel. Chachamim tell us that this was a location where 10 of the 12 tribes used to live in. And Yerushalayim and Tirza and the Shomron are the two most beautiful places in the world. Of Yerushalayim, of Eretz Israel, and of the world. You are beautiful, my beloved, like Tirza. And we're going to have to understand what that means. Nava Yerushalayim, pleasant, peaceful, kind, like Yerushalayim. Ayuma kanidgalot, and feared, respected, like the nidgalot, like the flags of the Degalim, right? Of the legions, right? Of the Degalim, nidgalot, milashon degel, nidgalot, milashon degel. Degel is a flag. These were the 4 flags of the 4 groups of the tribes of Am Yisrael in the desert, right? In the desert, Am Yisrael was divided in 4 groups around the Mishkan, and each group had a degel. Ayuma kanidgalot. You are feared and respected like a legion of soldiers that are approaching war and making the enemy tremble. The Gaon says something beautiful. First, if we take this pasuk and we dissect it, okay, we have 3 attributes. Yafa atrayati ketirza. You are beautiful, right? Like Tirza. Nava, you are kind and peaceful and sweet, like Jerusalem, like Yerushalayim. Ayuma, and you are feared and respected, like legions. Good? Yes. Okay. So we have 3 things, the 2 things we need to understand. Number 1, the difference between Yafa, Nava, and Ayuma. By the way, if you take the Otiot, Yafa, the Otiot, Ayuma, and Nava is Ani, right? Yud of Yafa, Nun of Nava, and Aleph of Ayuma, Otiot Ani. The Gaon says, this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ani, okay, talking to you. It's like the Ani of HaKadosh Baruch Hu talking to Am Yisrael, talking to Shlomo HaMelech, Knesset Israel. Okay, so that's the one thing. The second thing we need to understand is, what does Tirza represent? What does Yerushalayim represent? And what does Nidgalot represent, right? The legion represent. So, the Gaon, first definition and simple definition, he says you are beautiful, b'mar'eh. You are pleasant, you are beautiful to be looked at, physically, or mar'eh ruhani, or the spiritual outlook, yeah. Yafa adrayati, you Knesset Israel, the Neshama, you are beautiful to me. You are beautiful to look at. When I look at you, you're beautiful. Yafa b'mar'eh ketirza, like the Shomron. And we're going to understand what type of beauty this is, but in a second. Nava Yerushalayim, and your structure, your bone structure, the relation, not the relationship, the ratio between the eyes, the nose, the ears, your formology is beautiful, symmetrical, like Yerushalayim, Your structure is pleasant and good like Yerushalayim. Ayuma kanitgalot, and you emanate strength, you emanate respect when people look at you, when we look at you. Now he says, to understand the attribute, we need to understand to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is comparing us. So let's see. Yafa at ra'ayati, you are beautiful, my beloved one, like Tirza, like the Shomron. So explains the Gaon Mivilna, like we said, there is a major difference between Yerushalayim and the Shomron. Yerushalayim is the parcel of Malchut Bet David. This was where the Bet HaMikdash was, and this represents Malchut Bet David. Tirza represents the Shevatim, the Ahdut of the Shevatim. So says the Gaon, Yafa ad ra'ayati ketirza, you are beautiful like the Shomron, like Tirza, meaning when I look at your Ahdut, when I look at your synergy and your harmony and your ability to connect and bond and interact and be one and find the shalom amongst you, this is what looks so beautiful to me. Yafa ad ra'ayati, and we explained many times what does Yafa mean. Yafa is the highest level of a title, right? It's the highest attribute. Like we say in Emet, V'yatziv, V'nachon, V'kayam, V'tov, V'yafeh. The shlemut is what? Is when you have this ability. You want to be beautiful in my eyes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, is when you show your ability to tolerance, to understanding, to bonding, to teaching, to chesed, achdut, the unity of the Shevatim. And this is what Tirza represents. And he says, when the Geula will come, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the Geula, says the Gaon, he brings from the Mefarshim that the first that will wake up from Tchiyat HaMetim is the 10 Shevatim. These are the first. Then after that will come Malchut, the Bet Yehuda, right? And after and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will reveal us it. בראשונה 10 השבטים ואחר כך שבט יהודה ואחר כך יחיו דור המדבר. Right, so first when there is Tchiyat HaMetim, the 10 Shevatim will wake up. Then we will have the Shevet Yehuda that will wake up, right? And after that, the Door HaMidbar will wake up, and then that will be the era of Tchiyat HaMetim and of Olam Shekulo Tov. Now, that's Tirza. Nava ki Yerushalayim. This is, you are pleasant like Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim, says the Gaon, represents the Bet HaMikdash and represents the Malchut Bet David. He says, Yerushalayim, you are pleasant, you are kind, you are lovely, Nava, like Yerushalayim. He means that you're the Malchut that's in you, and that's what Yerushalayim represents. The Kedusha of the Bet HaMikdash that it represents brings this harmony and this peace. Why? Malchut, the concept of Malchut, of royalty, implies judgment, implies law and order. Structure. Right? This is why the Gaon says, Nava Yerushalayim, your structure, your body structure, the ratio of your bone structure and your beauty is Nava. This is what Malchut is about. Malchut brings order. Without order, Chachamim tell us we would be killing each other, right? It's the Mishnah in Avot. If it wasn't for the reshut, right? If it wasn't because of the order of the law, we would be killing each other.
You get angry at somebody, you kill them.
Finish. Right? This is Malchut. Bet HaMikdash, Oseh Shalom ben Elyonim letachtonim. The Bet HaMikdash is what brings harmony and brings cooperation and coexistence between spirituality and physicality. Okay, it's also an approach of structure and system, right? The Bet HaMikdash, you have to bring korbanot, and there's if you miss one, right? There's very strict laws, responsibility, order. This is what Yerushalayim represents. It said, I'm not going to go into it, but it says in Masechet Eruvin daf Yutet Hashem Shelosha Pitchei Gehinam yesh. There's three doors of Gehinam in the world. One door of Gehinam is in Bayam, in the sea. One door of the Gehinam is in the Midbar, and one door of the Gehinam is in Yerushalayim. The Maharal in Prague in Gevurat Hashem Perek Mem Zayin. In Perek 47, the Maharal in Prague compares those three Pitchei Gehinam to the Shalosh Regalim. Okay? To the Shalosh Regalim. And he explained, we're not going to go into the depths of it, but he says, I will explain to you what he says without going into it too much, but he says the world relies on three pillars. Number one is the pillar that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Matzui. The second, Torah Mina Shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's Borei Olam.
What's Matzui?
Matzui is present. There is someone that created the planet, the world. Emunah B'Shem. Three emunot is it. The second one is Torah Mina Shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu interacts with humanity. He gives us a Torah. He appointed Nevi'im, prophets, to talk to us, to guide us. Number three, he cares about each and every individual. Ashgacha Pratit. Number one, there is a Borei Olam. There is a creator. Number two, he interacts with humanity. And number three, he cares about every individual. Against these three Yesodot, there is Ze Leumat Ze Asa Elokim. When there is Kedusha and there is Emunah and there is connection, there's always a dark side of it, which are the three Petachim Shel Gehinam. What does it mean, Petach Shel Gehinam? What is the door of Gehinam? It means that in whatever essence we're talking about, there is a side to it that a person can misunderstand, and through that fall, in a fall down that can destroy his spiritual clarity and clairvoyance and journey in this world. This is the Petach of Gehinam. When Chachamim talk about the door of Gehinam, what it means, it's not a physical door. It means it's something that you can learn from it. Okay, that this lesson will make you question or doubt or mistake, and that mistake, that question will be so pertinent and so strong and so troubling that you will fall from where you stand. And it's a free fall. The Maharal Miprag in Perek Mem Zayin in Vorot Hashem explains, and he says that if one of them, in one of these pillars fall, khalas, finish. The person can, basically falls and can no longer, but he falls. Whatever that is false. Okay. So he says, then he says the following. I'm sorry, it's a sidetracked. We'll get back to the Gaon in a second because maybe I think it might be a very since we're talking about Yerushalayim. So he says this is the correlation. So these three emunot are correlating to the three Pitchei Geinam and the three Chagim, the Shalosh Regalim. That's what we call Shalosh Regalim. A regal is a pillar, right? Shalosh Regalim, three pillars, and each or of each regel brings out something. First, he says, there's Borei Olam, there's a Kadosh Baruch in this world from Pesach, Pashut. Torah Mina Shamayim, Shavuot. Ashgacha Pratit,
The Shefa from the Sukkah.
is Sukkot. We have to understand it because it's not so simple, Ashgacha Pratit in the Sukkah, but yes, it's Ashgacha Pratit, the interaction, personal interaction with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Sukkot. With these three things, we have Pitchei Gehinam. Midbar, the Yam, first of all, the Yam. Yeah? The first petach of Gehinam is the Yam. Why is it the Yam? Water has no structure. There's no structure. Yeah? It goes there. You cannot consolidate water. You can turn it into ice, but ice is not water. Water in itself does not have a structure. It's an unfinished product. It's tohu. This is why Chachamim teach us Shit Alfe Shnin. The world was made in 6,000 years. The world will be 6,000. Tre alfe tohu. The first 2,000 is tohu. The second 2,000 is Torah. The last 2,000 Yemei HaMashiach. Yeah?
Technically, that's what we're in right now.
Yes, that's where we are. What do we see? The first, and these are connected the 6 days of the creation. The first 2 days of creation, there was only water. Tre alfe tohu. Tohu, tehom. Tehomot beleviam, says David HaMelech. Tehomot beleviam. The tehom, the tohu, is inside the water. Water is an unfinished product. Is when you don't see. Everything is random. There's no borei la'olam. The water can go anywhere. You put it in any vessel. It can fit anything. It can take any color. You can turn it into whatever you want. And borei la'olam. Everything is random. There's no HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So when a person looks at the water and wants to learn from the water that you can make a mistake and think that the water is everywhere, the water controls everything, and it's so random. The world is random. You have water in people, you have water in the skies, you have water in the air, you have water. Maybe that's what it's about. And you lose Hashem in Hashem. The second is Petach Gehinam in the Midbar. Petach Gehinam in the Midbar. Yes.
Isn't the Torah compared to the water?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
That's exactly. That's when you have the Torah. You just make a comparison. But if you don't have the Torah and you only, like I said, in every one of these essences, because it represents Kedusha, there's also a dark side to it, a Petach Shel Gehinna. That's how I started. Then you have the Midbar. Petach, here's Midbar. Midbar is something that's dead, right? Dead. There's nothing there.
No trees, no plants.
Nothing. There's no yishuv. Nobody lives there. There's no community. So you would think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world but left it. This world is hefker. You can do whatever you want. Yes, there's a borei olam maybe, but you can do whatever you want. It's like a desert. It's like a desert. He built it and left it. And the third one, and I'm saying very, very, just giving you indications of what to think about, but all this is a full shiur. Okay, anyways, so the third one is Yerushalayim, which is the most difficult one. Petach Shel Gehinam in Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim represent community, organization, right? When we come to הפורס סוכה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל ירושלים. ועל ירושלים, הכוונה recovers, umbrellas, yeah, עלינו ועל כל ישראל. When you go to Yerushalayim, the Gemara in Menachot says that even there was no tum'ah, yeah, during the regel. There was no tum'ah. Yerushalayim, when we go to Yerushalayim, we go and we're all considered one. Yeah, we gather to Yerushalayim. There's no individuality. We're under a system. What's the problem with that? Is that you lose your individuality. You lose your self-responsibility. You could say, listen, I'm part of this system, but who cares about me? I do, I don't do. It makes a difference if I go to shul or no. It makes a difference if I put tefillin or no. It doesn't make any difference. So who cares, right? This is a petach of Gehenna of Yerushalayim. When you are part of a system and you think you're not contributing personally to the system, then you don't have self-confidence, you don't have self-respect, and you collapse, you disappear. And that's Hashgacha Pratit. HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares about each and every one of us. Good. Okay, great. I tried in a few minutes. We're going back. Navak Yerushalayim. So this is what Yerushalayim is about. This individual that there is a regrouping, right? Yerushalayim represents the Bet HaMikdash. You represent Malchut Bet in order system. And obviously, it's that order and that in different ways, whether it's through the Malchut or through the Bet HaMikdash and the harmony, right, makes a person, makes a system, makes a community more na'eh, more pleasant, more shalom, more shalva, when there is respect. When there is respect, when there is Torah, when there is Achdut in Yerushalayim. You cannot respect if you don't respect the order and rules and regulation. That's Yerushalayim. Navak Yerushalayim. Ayuma kanitgalot. We spoke about the Degalim. We spoke about what the flag represents, right? It's pride. It represents pride, but by the Shevatim, it represented the essence. And when we look at the bracha of Yaakov Avinu in Parashat Vayechi, and how he identifies every shevet, or how Moshe Rabbeinu in Parashat Vezot HaBracha also identifies each shevet. Each shevet has it. Dan is the Nahash. We have Yehuda. We have the Aryeh. Each one represents an essence, an attribute. But not just having the attribute or being, living with this attribute, but actually showing a flag, being proud of it. When a person is proud and is ready to show off, in a good way, obviously, show off is maybe lack of better word, but present himself with his trait, with his qualities, with his attributes, that by default create fear and makes the enemy, makes the person, the outsider, tremble. Why? When you go to and I think it's simple. When you go to a meeting and you're very sure about yourself and you're positive, then by default the person, starts questioning himself. The counterparty, he starts questioning himself. So if you come and you don't control 100% of the information, and you don't believe in it, and you cannot emanate and share it 100%. If you don't have that, then the other person starts questioning you. You don't know, maybe this, maybe that. But when you know everything to the T, now the other person is starting to question himself. Oh, 1 second, this guy is and now you shift automatically the upper hand in the negotiation, in the relationship, right? In the communication. Big hidush if you go to a meeting, you go to always be prepared 100%.
Sure.
and 100% sure and proud, and like talk about it and be clear and verbalize and while we talk about the relation, we'll add another thing. Did we speak about the Besorot Tovot? Besorot Tovot. So let's talk about Besorot. 2 minutes, Besorot Tovot. Every person is motivated by what? By his willpower, his desires. Everybody has desires. Somebody desires to become president, to become Rosh Yeshiva, to become the biggest real estate owner, to become the biggest banker, to become. Some people want to be the biggest losers and biggest. What they want to become. Each one to their. What is the common denominator of everybody? What fuels that ratzon, that power, that's willpower? The willpower to live. No, to live. Ratzon lechiot.
Survival.
Yeah, to live. We all need to live, and each will determine how to translate the definition of living. For him is the will to do this, to do that, to own this, to buy this, to sell that, to accomplish this, to read this, whatever, to write, whatever it is. Whatever it is. So each individual is consumed by the translation of his will to live and exist, and runs after that desire that to him equals the desire of life. To each their own. When you bring two people together, it's chaos, right? Because if you have the desire to do something today and my desire is something else, how do we communicate? You go to a meeting, yeah, you want to sit. Then you just hung up the phone with the client, whatever it is, yeah. Your head is somewhere else. Your head is somewhere else. I mean, even if your head is not somewhere else, in your heart is, unless this person brings you something you need or you want, and you're the demander, you're out. You're out. Especially today, we have the focus span is 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Span is very tough. Nachon. So to
Okay. So how do you
interact. To interact, you see.
As he's saying it. Terrible.
So
you brought it out.
So that's a problem. So how do you communicate? Amen. So the answer is about interaction. So another tip. The first tip we said is Shlomo HaMelech, and the second tip now. In the Kav HaYashar, Parashat Vayigash. The Kav HaYashar there, he brings a midrash. Yaakov is depressed about the loss of Yosef HaTzadik, and we know that since he's been depressed, he doesn't have Ruach HaKodesh. The midrash says that Serach Bat Asher, his granddaughter, started dancing. I told you. Started dancing. So I said this. Started dancing in front of Yaakov Avinu, and she sang, "Od Yosef Dodi Hai." My uncle Yosef is alive. Vehu Moshel al Kol Eretz Misraim, and he's the ruler of all Egypt. Miyad, right away, Nichnaz bo simcha gedola. Yaakov became happy, okay? And everything came back. No. I cannot control your simcha. But I can indirectly make you happy. It's called Besorot Tovot.
You're triggering it?
Yes, Besorot Tova, when you bring a good news. When you go to a meeting and you start with a good news and you share good news with the person, you take the person from his choshech, you take him from his retzonot, from his shigonot, and you free him and you bring him to you. And now that you have his attention, you have him feel good, Chachamim, they started the shiur b'mila b'dichuta. They used to start the shiur by saying jokes. When you moshech the lev, when you bring the person to you, so now he's no longer trapped into his retzonot, into his choshech, and now you can have a conversation and implement ayumak anidgalot, ayumak in this pride that Shlomo Melech is referring to, according to the Gaon Mivina. So let's continue. Now the Gaon adds and says, "Ashlosha devarim ha'olam omed." Right? It's Mishnah. "Ashlosha devarim ha'olam omed al Torah ve'al avoda ve'al gemilut hasadim." However, since the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed and we were sent to Galut, כתוב באיכה, מלכה ושריה בגויים. מלכה ושריה בגויים. Her king and her ambassadors and princes are amongst the goyim. Chachamim tell us, Malka, זו Torah, this is the Torah. The ambassadors, זו עבודה, תפילה, בגויים. We lost it. Rabbi Shimon ben Zakkai said, so כולם התחילו לבכות, everybody started crying. What do you mean? מלכה ושריה, we don't have anything, right? השלושה דברים מהעולם, התורה, עבודה וגמילות חסדים, מה נשאר כלום? So Rabbi Shimon ben Zakkai said, no. We still have chesed. Gemilut hasadim. Why? The pasuk says in it's Avod Rabbi Natan. If you want to see it, Avod Rabbi Natan, Perek Dalet Ot He. The pasuk says, Ki malchei Yisrael malchei chesed hema. It's in Melachim. Melachim Aleph, Kaf Lamed Aleph. משהו כזה, Kaf Lamed Aleph. פרק Kaf Lamed Aleph. It says that the Malchei Chesed, that the Melachim of Am Yisrael, even though we don't have Torah, even though we don't have Avodah, but we still have Chesed. And Avod Rabbi Natan brings an example of who? Of Isabel. Isabel was a terrible queen. She would make everybody sin. Yet she would go and dance in front of every kala to make her happy. And from this we learn that although she was a resha, right? She was wicked. She was terrible. She was still sensitive. Gemilut hasadim. She would go and dance in front of the kala. That lamdu alea zchut. Chachamim found something tov. Rabbi Shimon ben Zakkai says, we lost everything, but we didn't lose Gemilut Hasadim. From the Rasha Sheba Reshaim, we still learned Chesed because she went and danced in front of the Kala. This is the zchut and the bracha and the Chesed we do when we dance in front of the Hatan. Look how amazing dancing and so simple, huh? So simple, it's free. Not only it's free, they feed you with it. They feed you and just. Some poskim say that if you eat from the seudah of Chatan V'Kala and you don't dance the gezel and you don't make them happy, it's like you steal from the Chatan V'Kala. When you eat, you have to make the Chatan and Kala happy. You have to go even a few minutes, but you have to make it. So says the Gaon Mivina based on this Avod Rabbi Natan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, Yafa at ra'ayati ketirtza. You are beautiful. Yeah. He says, you're beautiful like tirza. This is the 10 shevatim that used to do chesed between each other. Live together, coexisted together. Yeah, the beauty, the yafa that we spoke about. Chesed. He says, although you're not in Eretz Yisrael, you're in Galut. Although you don't have Torah, you don't have Avodah. He says, no. You are beautiful to me, and you still have Chesed. נאבק ירושלים, ירושלים זה בית המקדש, תפילה, right? כהן גדול מתפלל on behalf of עם ישראל, עבודה. עבודה. איומה כנתגלות, right? You are feared like the דגלים, like the flags of the desert, זה תורה. The desert reminder of מתן תורה. It says the Gaon, this is why when we finish the tefillah, the 18, what do we say? שתיבנה בית המקדש במהרה בימינו ותנחלקנו בתורתך לעשות חוקי רצונה ועובדה בלב שם. תיבנה בית המקדש במהרה בימינו. That's tefillah in the בית המקדש. תנחלקנו בתורתך. זאת תורה. מה עם גמילות חסדים? We have גמילות חסדים. We have to do גמילות חסדים. A person can do גמילות חסדים just by going to the Khatan and the Kala and dance. Dance with the Khatan. You dance a few minutes with the Kala. Do gmilut chasadim, davar nifla meod. So, says Gaon Mivina davar something. He said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells me, Ani, Ayuma, Nava, Yafa, Ani, I see in you all these three attributes. It tells us, Yafa adrayati ketzirtza. Even though you think there's no Torah, there's no Avodah, I see it in you. What does that mean? I see it in you. I see the potential in you. Don't think that you don't have, you have it. And this is the sword of the Ani. If I want to have the right Ani and find my Ani, what did Hillel say? What did Hillel Azaken say? Imani kan, akol kan. If I am here, everything is here. What does that mean? Imani kan, akol kan. Huh?
The potential's there.
The bracha. Avraham berach et Avraham, עוד חידוש. ואברהם berach et Avraham, בכל. Avraham blessed, הקדוש ברוך הוא blessed Avraham בכל. מה הכוונה בכל? He had the bracha, כן? the ברכת אבות, בכל מכל כל. Each, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, all got the bracha, בכל מכל כל. כל זה ברכה. כל זה ברכה. כל זה. Kaf is 20, Lamed is 30, 50, 50 Sha'arei Binah, the Nun Sha'arei Binah. The Nun Sha'arei Binah.
Isn't that Birkat HaMazon, right?
Ken, exactly. Kol represents baracha, all the baracha. Says Hillel Azaken, Imani kan, akol kan. What does that mean? If I see in me what the Ani of HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees in me, this Ani,
then I get the beracha.
Then I have the beracha, I can do everything. Then the beracha is part of why? Because it's I don't see what I have on my own. I see what HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees in me. So if I can see what HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees in me, then by default it's bracha. Sorry. By default it's bracha. Do you understand this tremendous hidush we just did?
It's like you say.
We just did when this hidush came now.
See what people are capable of, not what they are today. Right? It's like when you talk to somebody as if what their potential is,
that's
not
right.
What they are this second.
So not only what you see, you have to do the way you see yourself. You have to see in you what HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees in you. And this is the beracha. This is the beracha. What does that mean? If I have in me Yerushalayim, if I have in me structure, if I have in me order, if I have in me regimented behavior, and I follow rules, and I have a structure in my life, and I have tirza, and I have chesed, and I have ahdut, and I have shalom, and I have social interaction properly. I know who to learn what from, and I know what not to learn from, and I know who to get close to, and not who to get far from, and who to influence, and who to be influenced by. That's tirza, and I am proud of myself. Ayuma kanitgalot. Then I have the ani that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees in me. And then hal abracha. And this is what that's what Hillel says, Imani kan, akol kan. How would say, what do you mean? Hillel zaken. No? If I'm here, everything's here. Can we say the sentence again? Im ani kan. Im ani kan. Hakol kan. So hakol is habracha. Haberacha.
יש לי קול.
בדיוק. יש לי ברכה. בכל מכל כל, זה ברכת האבות, בכל מכל כל. והשם ברך את אברהם בכל. בכל בברכה. אם אני כאן, if my ani is not my ani, but is the ani that we just said,
Hashem sees.
the ayuma nava yafa that Hashem sees in me, then this is my ani. And this is my ani, and that's how I introduce myself and I live by. Im ani kan hakol kan. Tremendous favor. Simachtem oti Hashem. I had different pshatim for this, but this is beautiful. Anyways, Baruch Hashem, Chazeh Hashem. This is according to the Gaon we read now. We need to do the Malbim. Is very short because the Malbim now is shortening a little bit his Pirushim because according to the Malbim we're shifting towards the death of Shlomo HaMelech, right? Now, but so he says, yeah. He says the following. He says, Yafa ra'ayati ketirza. Yafa, if you're beautiful, ketirza, he says, I forgive. You're beautiful, meaning I don't see anything else. And when you're beautiful to someone, נתכפרו כל עוונותייך. הקדוש ברוך הוא נותן שלמה המלך, I forgive all your עבירות. נאווה כירושלים, and your neshama is to me more important, נאווה more pleasant than Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim, what does it mean? Is you one neshama equals to all the Evarim, all the mitzvot u'ma'asim tovim of the body that it does, is your neshama. So, although you have 2 hands and fingers, 2 eyes, and no, but your neshama to me is more valuable and more pleasant than anything you can do to your body. Navak Yerushalayim. And with all the kochot, everything that the body can offer doesn't get close to me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Shlomo, then your neshama. Ayuma kanit galot, it's feared and respected more, like the Degalim. He says the Degalim represents the Malachim. He says you're coming up now and you have legions of angels of all the mitzvot that you've done. And they're all coming in front of me. I see them, they're all here. He says, and we know that when the neshama goes up, it goes up with all the ma'asim and all the angels that we created through our actions. Good, hopefully only good. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Shlomo HaMelech, I see all these angels, I see all these legions. But you are more important to me and you are more lovable to me. You're your neshama than all these angels. This is what I want. I want you. I don't want these angels. This is the ani. The ani, according to the Malbim, is when you and me become one. And when you understand that I am you and you are me. Everything byproduct that you can create is great. Legions of malachim, asim tovim, Torah, all this is great. That's only how you become ani, right? But it's secondary to how important you, the neshama, is to me. That puts in perspective. You see, that's Shlomo HaMelech leaving this world. Okay, our responsibility in respecting and valuing and cherishing our neshama. Because if we really respect it, based on what the Gaon says and based on according to Malbim, what the ani is I am you and you are me, and we are one. That is then there's no way you can there's no way you can sin. There's no way you can do something that is not keretzon haboreh. That's according to the Malbim. That's according to the Malbim. Baruch Hashem. So we just finished Pasuk Dalet. Interesting pasuk there, b'si'ata dishmaya.
What are you saying?